Is the Lord with us or not? It's a worthy question, and one that, if we're honest, we all feel the need to ask sometime. Is the Lord with us or not? It's a question we ask when people and circumstances hurt and disappoint us. It shows up in dining rooms and cafeterias, around tables, when strife and difficulty in relationship appear. We ask it in our beds, late at night, when fear and anxiety speak their loudest and wake us. We ask it as we pass this third anniversary of the day we all went inside and everything changed. Is the Lord with us or not? The Israelites asked that too. There is a massive number of people in this community who are walking around a very inhospitable environment, and they don't have any water. That's not a small problem. The human body can survive a surprisingly long time without food. But water? 3 days. I've seen people go 5. Either way, that's not very much time. This is a significant issue. You got to have water or you'll die. Our reading this morning comes from the 17th chapter of Exodus, and I want to give us kind of a run up to it, a little background. In chapter 13, just 4 chapters earlier, God has brought about the final plague against the Egyptians. God has slaughtered all the firstborn of Egypt, but God has passed over all the firstborn of Israel. And it was this crushing blow that caused Pharaoh to finally let the people go. They're free now. In chapter 14, the community experienced God's hand as they crossed the Red Sea on dry land. But Pharaoh's army was engulfed in the water and died. All of them drowned. All of chapter 15 is a song of praise for that event. Then in chapter 16, the people complain because there isn't any food in the wilderness. In response, God sends quails falling from the sky for meat, and God gives manna for bread. God cares for them. And this care is taken as proof of God's presence with the community. Now in chapter 17, they're without water. They accuse Moses of bringing them out into the wilderness to let them die. And our scriptures kind of give them a bad rap, right? These truculent people. But they're frightened. And not without cause. I mean, this is life and death. There is no water. And God provides. God provides the water. You would think that the people would have recalled the very recent and very miraculous ways that God cared for them, but that doesn't happen here. Think about it, though. These were an enslaved people. Every morning, you get up and do the same thing. You eat the same stuff. You walk the same paths, and you follow the same taskmaster. It's an incredibly settled life. But now, very suddenly, literally overnight, this is a freed people who are told to pick up and go. Just get out of here. Go away from this land. Go away from everything you know. For generations, no elder has passed on the nomadic skills of their father Abraham. Wilderness survival is foreign to this community. This is a huge and risky change. This risk and danger is the other side of the gift of freedom. And they are so scared that they even wish they could be slaves again. Thank you. We'll take the devil we know over the one we don't. We tend to characterize the Israelites as this petulant group of stubborn children who don't know truth or obedience or faith. Lucky us, with hindsight, we can see things differently. But Take away your home, your food and water, and let's see how you do. They're free, but they're not yet in the promised land. They're in the wilderness and not yet home. Change and transformation are necessary, but that doesn't mean they're always welcome, even when we think they are, or that they are ever easy. How many of us have wanted to become good, kind, spiritually deep, emotionally mature people? None of us would ask for the grief, the loss, the difficult relationships through which we have been transformed into those things. How many of us who've been part of congregational life for decades have wished the church could become relevant in our communities again, reclaim our vitality, and thrive? None of us would have asked for this painful pandemic shedding to visit us in order and through which those hopes can be realized. Take away the things we know and that we are perhaps enslaved to, the habits, the hurtful coping mechanisms that we've set up for ourselves, the patterns that don't work anymore, even when we just try and do them better. Take away all of that, and we really just don't know quite what to do. There have been no elders to teach us this wilderness path. And as the unfamiliarity of our freedom to live a more abundant life sets in full, we don't know what to do. We long for the devil we know, long for the enslavement that was familiar. Is the Lord with us or not? Because we're out here in the wilderness and we don't know what's coming. And our life is in danger. We need water. God, did you just bring us to this point so that you could kill us and let us die? Are you with us or not? Leaving behind what we know can feel like death itself, even if what we leave was a kind of slavery. Will we be okay? What if I don't worry enough and something goes wrong? How will I cope without that drink, or without whipping out my card to buy that thing that I can't afford and don't need, or without giving my body way more food than it actually needs? If I accept that my boss, parent, spouse, fill in the blank, if I accept that person exactly as they are, maybe they'll never change. And they need to change, they just don't know it. If I say no to what people expect of me or want me to do, I won't be loved. Oh, I can't keep up with all this, but boy, isolation, I'd rather take this. No, give me the devil that I know. Are you kidding? Help me, God. Water. I need water. Are you with me or not? The gospel of Jesus Christ is not about getting people into heaven. It's about transforming lives. Sometimes that transformation is very sudden and dramatic, like a switch that gets flipped off or on, and its effects are immediate. Many times, that transformation is much more gradual, perhaps even unnoticeable, like a very long journey in the wilderness. When our son Cyrus was probably 4 or 5, he got a rock tumbler as a gift. Who's had one of those? Yeah, you know how it goes, right? You put a handful of rocks in this little drum, and they're rough. They're various shades of, brown and gray and, kind of gnarly looking. And then you add a packet of grit and a little bit of water, and then you plug the thing in and it turns. You have to leave it turning for 2 months. No lie. We put that thing in the farthest corner of our basement, And you could still hear it all the time. Wum, 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 wum. There it is for 2 months. After that, you stop it, you kind of rinse everything off, and you put in a little bit finer grit. And it goes for another 2 months. After that, you do the same thing again with very fine grit. Finally, after all this wumming, you open up the tumbler and you see that the rough rock that went in is shiny now. A rock that went in brown or tan maybe comes out this beautiful amber color, maybe with a vein of black through it. Or, one of them will like randomly come out green. Who knew that? The tumbler simulates something like 100 years of a rock being tossed around in a river. So this is no quick change. It's a gradual transformation. Transformation of our lives, of us, is like that too. And there have been times in your life, I am sure, when you are tired of that grit tearing you up, tired of that grit making you shiny and beautiful, tired of feeling the need to ask, is God with me or not? Is God with us or not? God with us. Emmanuel, seated at an ancient well, talking to a scandalous woman. Everyone who drinks of this water will be thirsty again, but those who drink of the water that I will give them will never be thirsty. Jesus is using this basic, vital human need, water to drink, as an example of our spiritual needs. He's saying, yeah, God is here. I am here. I am what you're looking for, and I bet I'm not what you imagined. Let me be for you in a way that is as unconventional as manna, as inconvenient as quails plopping down out of the sky all over the camp, as unexpected as water from a rock in the middle of a desert. You see, I show up in all kinds of odd ways. Jesus never says that things will be fine, that things will be easy. Our wilderness and God's presence with us in it is much grittier than that. Instead, Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and carrying heavy burdens, and I will refresh you. He says, come for a drink of living water.